The old palace was built as the administrative headquarters and residence of Mehmed the Conqueror to the north of Forum Tauri, where Süleymaniye Complex and the buildings of Istanbul University's Beyazıt campus stand today. Mehmed II moved to this palace on the autumn of 1455 from Edirne. Thus Istanbul became the third capital of Ottoman Empire after Bursa and Edirne. This palace was used as the main palace of the empire until the 16th century. The site where the old palace used to stand had the view of the Golden Horn, the Bosphorus, and the Marmara Sea. This area had been used as an imperial area since Constantine I. Some sources state that there were remains of a residence or a monastery at the place. These may all be reasons that enforced the selection of this area for the construction of the old palace. According to Nicolas de Nicolai, who visited Istanbul in the 16th century, this palace was surrounded with high walls, had many pavilions, and it was home to 200 concubines and servants of the Sultan. The long facade of the palace, which used to be parallel to the Golden Horn, was approximately 1 kilometer long, and the one perpendicular to that was around 500 to 600 meters. After moving to the old palace in 1455, Mehmed the Conqueror initiated the construction of a new palace, the Topkapı Palace. The new palace was located on the site of ancient acropolis of Byzantium, inside the existing sea walls. The walls of Topkapı Palace was built to surround the landside. This 1,400 meters long wall separated the complex from the city. A total of 28 towers, 3 main gates, and several minor gates were built on these walls, and spoila was used alongside brick and stone for its construction. There were also tower kiosks on certain corners of the wall, such as procession kiosk, and they were meant to be used by the Sultan to watch ceremonies. The palace complex was settled on approximately 700,000 square meters and had inner walls which created courtyards within the complex. The palace built in Fatih's reign consisted of 3 main courtyards and 3 monumental gates. Although a strong axial organization might be expected in such a palace, there is no axial organization in the complex. This may be because of the rough topography or existing structures. The main entrance to the palace, the Bab-ı Hümayun or the Imperial Gate, was placed in the direction of the Hagia Sophia Mosque. This shows that Hagia Sophia was the major edifice of the empire. The new palace was located at the most prestigious area of the peninsula and was in relation with the primary religious building of the time. According to travelers who visited the palace in 1502, the marble imperial gate was decorated with calligraphy, floral designs, and gemstones. The imperial gate led to the first court, courtyard of processions. This public space was reserved for the general services of the palace. Hagia Irene Church, which was built in the 6th century, was located inside this courtyard. It was converted into an armory during Mehmed II's reign. The entrance to the inner fortress was from the Gate of Salutation, the Babü's Selam. This gate opened to the second court, the courtyard of Divan, which was the administrative center of the empire. This rectangular, vast square with arcades measured 140 meters to 100 meters roughly. As well as the Divan, the pavilion which the Great Council gathered for administrative matters, culinary facilities of the palace used to be located in this court too. Behind the Divan stood the Tower of Justice, which symbolized Sultan's duty to provide and maintain justice. The Sultan had a seat with a view of the Divan Hall inside this tower. The last structure that is located in the Divan courtyard is the inner treasury, where the empire's monetary reserve was kept. The Gate of Felicity led to the most sacred part of the complex, the Enderun courtyard. The first building that was built in this courtyard was the Fatih kiosk. At the northeast corner of the court stood Hasoda. The chamber of petitions was located right after the gate. It was where the Sultan conducted his ceremonial work. Fatih kiosk, or the Conqueror's kiosk, is the most perceptible building on the silhouette of the palace from the Marmara Sea. The construction of the pavilion, which is located on the northeast corner of the Topkapı Palace complex, was completed in 1462-1463. It has been built as a lodge for the Sultan. This building shows the transaction between the organization of the pavilion and the traditional Ottoman houses. It had the planned scheme of a traditional Ottoman house with a hayat. Hayat is a hall which faces the courtyard of the building complex. This space has one or more open lateral facades and is covered on top. The rooms which create an L shape around the hayat were also enriched with a loggia with the view of the Bosphorus. Privy chamber has been initially designed as the Sultan's administrative quarters. This masonry building was built between 1465 and 1468. It was covered with 4 domes originally. The facade facing the Golden Horn had a portico in its front. The planned scheme with 2 rooms and a sofa fits the Anatolian Turkish house typology. The 2-story garden pavilion, tiled kiosk, was built in 1472 by Mehmed II as a pleasure palace in Persian style, possibly with the contribution of Persian traveling craftsmen. The central planned building with a cross-shaped inner space has 4 Iwans on 4 sides and 4 rooms on the corners crowned with domes, both in the basement and upper floors. Both floors have arcades on the entrance facade, and there is a projecting room with a pentagonal plan at the end of the entrance axis. The center of the upper floor is crowned with a dome, while mukarnas is used as the main transition element throughout the structure. The domes and walls of the building reflect Timurid style, and the interior walls are covered with green, dark blue, and turquoise tiles.